chew the fat and give you our gut reactions on all things pop culture, film, TV and theatre. We talk the legends in the creative industry and those on the rise. We game old school. We do all of this, and a whole lot more. Like, subscribe, and get involved. Join Lance Dean, Anthony Nielsen, and the Outcast Creative.
Well, another thing we do is talk about our utility bills. Now, I appreciate that this is not typical for this channel, but you may recall last year in the summer, I live streamed a call that I was making to British Gas customer services. It was the second call I'd made that day because the first call I got cut off. And despite promises to the contrary, they did not call me back. And I'll give a bit of background, a bit of context to how this came about before I get into it, into the present situation. But I'm going to keep off camera, but I am going to come on camera to open my gas bill in a second. There are two of them now. There's two of them. There's no point me opening them because I can't afford to pay them at the moment. So what typically happens in the UK with British Gas, which is one of the main energy suppliers, in fact, for a long time, it was the only energy supplier, is that you can either pay by direct debit, which I never do, because I like to see how much money is in the account and what's going out, and I pay them all over the counter, actually, in person. Gets me away from the computer, that kind of thing. So, and I always pay my bills on time when they arrive. And this all started with the summer bill that I got in 2023. That summer bill for the summer quarter, which is, there's no heating on at this time of year because it's not cold enough, so you don't put the heating on. And the heating is what drives the bills up. It's really responsible for quite a high percentage of your bill. This is why the winter bills in the UK are so expensive. So I live in a small flat. It's not a huge flat apartment. Ground floor, couple of rooms, big kitchen, and a bathroom and so on, hallway, etc. And typically my bills pre-2020, let's say pre-pandemic, would be, the winter bill would be sort of between £200 to £300. That would be the expensive one. The spring bill would sort of be between kind of 150 to 200, and the summer bill would be around the same. But typically I'd be spending around £1,000 a year tops, and that would be high. Typically my total bills per year up to then, I would say from, let's say, 2018 backwards, would be £800 per year, around £800 per year. Okay. So in 2023, the summer of 2023, I wasn't here much. I hadn't been using things, and I'd had a pretty uneventful time. I was also away for a couple of funerals and things of this nature. So when I got a bill for £368.22 for that period, I queried it because I thought it was too expensive. And believe it or not, British Gas agreed. Now, I need to also say that in January, I think it was either January or February, I don't use what's called a smart meter, which is like a small little meter that you plug in. I don't use that. I've had 2 of those. None of them have worked. They're totally unreliable. Anyone will tell you the same. They are rubbish. They don't work properly. Probably designed by the same people that made Horizon for the post office. And by the way, in case you're wondering how your bills are calculated, don't think that there's some guy doing accounting in a back office. All right. This is all automated and done by computer software now. So you might want to ask questions about who designs that software and is it checked for bugs, errors, and defects? Who does those checks? Are they independent of British Gas? Who's monitoring British Gas to make sure that the bills are accurate? These are questions you should be asking. Okay. So I had them come out twice to get the meter readings because it was important for me that the bills were accurate and that I was paying what I should. And as I say, I always pay my bills on time. Okay. So they agreed with me and they deducted some money off of the bill. Keith, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Don't forget, Facebook takes a big chunk of these. This is not the raise money to pay my bill stream. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be selling a load of things that are very valuable to me, are very dear to me, like movie props and stuff, and knickknacks, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to pay for this. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. Let me focus. So I complained that the summer bill was too high after a lot of back and forth, and I wrote to the chairman of British Gas. I got hold of his email and I wrote to him, and I complained about the hike in prices, and I said, "Where do you think we're going to get the money from to pay for these increases? Our wages haven't increased, for people across the UK. Benefits haven't increased. The average person who's got a lowly paid job or is on disability or whatever cannot afford these increases. They have to rob Peter to pay Paul." And I'm going to come back to that in a second. So, but guess what? They agreed that my summer bill was too high and they reduced it. Okay, so this is in 2023. They reduced it. So then in the autumn, I got a bill that came through. And again, it was high, and I was like, "This has got to be wrong." And I contacted them again, and because it was massive, and they said, "Yes, it is wrong. We're going to send you a corrected bill." And I was like, "Good, excellent, okay." And that's the call I made before the call that I live streamed earlier this year. The corrected bill came through. And now they're claiming that they undercharged me for the entire year by some £800. So when that bill arrived in November, even though it says on the bill for that year so far, I have paid £1,430, right? In credit, paid to us. £1,430. Yeah, my new balance after their adjustments is that I'm £813.55 in debt on top of that. Okay. And this is before my winter bill for 2023 has arrived. This is before the expensive bill has arrived. I've now got an adjustment for all the 3 other bills I've paid in 2023. And guess what? You owe us another £800 on top of the £1,400 you've paid already. This is robbery. This is bullshit, is what this is. Okay. So now I wasn't able to pay that. Do you know why I wasn't able to pay that? I'll tell you why. Because I had to go to a food bank to get my food for Christmas. A food bank. Okay. That's the first time in my life I've ever had to go to a food bank. You know why? Because the utility bills were too high and I could not afford to pay them. So I couldn't afford to pay them, so I had to go to a food bank. And I was standing in the food bank with like, immigrants, people that have come across the channel on a boat, and people that have gone through like real hardship. And I felt guilty. I felt bad for standing there having to go to a food bank because I couldn't afford to buy all the basic things that I needed to eat. I didn't have enough money. So I took them to the ombudsman. The ombudsman is a sort of neutral body who assesses these things and then tells British Gas off, but they don't really have any power. And British Gas, even if they undercharge you, I'm told by the ombudsman, legally, there's nothing you can do. They can still come back and charge you basically what they want. And British Gas were forced to admit that they made a mistake. They were forced to admit that they undercharged me, that they also reimbursed me unnecessarily for my overcharged summer bill. They were forced to admit that they made a mistake, that they got the bills wrong. What they don't seem to understand is when bills come into a household, money aside to pay for those bills, and we pay for them there and then. We don't put money aside for the end of the year so that you can then send us another bill for 800 quid to charge us on top of that. Right. So I'm going to open this first bill now. I'm going to stop this for a second. I'm going to hold this up. Here it is. Your latest bill, right? Okay. Right. So there's two of these, like I said. So this is my winter bill of last year, plus the additional 800, plus so my new balance, I owe them £1,500. That's my bill for the spring, my bill for the winter, plus £800 extra from last year, on top of the £1,400 from last year that I've already paid these bastards. I don't know how I'm going to pay that. You know, I'm going to have to go back up to the food bank again to get my groceries. And I made that food last me 3 weeks. Do you know how embarrassing that is for someone of my age to have to do that? Right? I don't think that these people know what they're doing to the men and women of this country, who are the people who just get by, who do the cleaning jobs, you know, who work at McDonald's, who serve you food, who make your coffees. These people live in small flats in London, and they're trying to pay their bills. They're trying to pay their council tax. They're trying to pay the water bill, the gas and electric bill. Look at how many profits you made in 2023. My total bill for the year, only 6-7 years ago, was £800. In 2019, it's over £1,000. In 2022 or 23, it's £1,400. £1,400. And then you're telling me that actually that was short by £800. So now I have to pay 800 on top of that. Why are you putting these prices up? What are you trying to do to us? Do you understand me? What are you trying to do to us? You're going to kill people over this. And I mean that literally. People are not going to be able to afford these increases. I can't afford it. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay you £10 a week, because that's basically what I can afford. Okay. So how do you expect us to pay for this, British Gas? And why are you putting these prices up when you had a profit of 751 million? in 2023 alone. £751 million. Now, I want that to sink into people for a minute. While people are starving and can't afford to put the heating on last winter, and it was a cold winter that lasted a long time. I had pneumonia twice, and I have a vulnerable chest to chest infections, and I couldn't put the heating on. I had to have 3 rugs under the duvet. You know, I went to sleep with my clothes on. I don't think you realize what this does to us. You demean us. You demean us. You make us feel worthless. You make us feel as if we're not important to you. I've been a customer of yours since 1997, a full-time customer of yours ever since then. Probably going back before that when I lived in shared flats and things. But just me since 1997, British Gas. And this is how you treat me. This is how you treat us. It's absolutely disgraceful. You're honestly, you know, it's all about profit to you. Have we not evolved as a nation? Have we not evolved as a species where we're starting to realize that actually this is not the way that we should function as society? Ripping off the poorest people in the country and squeezing them for every last drop of blood, so that what, you can go and live on a private yacht and fly first class. Fuck you. You're killing us, literally. You're destroying our pride, and you're taking it from us bit by bit. What you're doing is an utter disgrace. Look at your profits, and don't put the prices up and tell me it's because of the war in fucking Ukraine. That is utter bullshit. I think what you're doing is utterly appalling to us. And you know, you're going to push the British public to the point where they are going to leave your company in droves. No one is going to want to be a customer of British Gas anymore. Your customer call center in South Africa, and I will give the credit to the staff there that some of them work very hard. I'm not just going to stand here and rant and slag off other people who are trying to do their job and pay for their family to put food on their table, who work for you. Some of them try to be very helpful. Some of them couldn't give a shit. But some of them are very good. Some of them try to be very helpful. The PA of the director of British Gas personally called me when I wrote to the director. I got a call. You know, that's why I will tell you the things that you did right. You did that right. But then you go and whack £800 on top of the £1,400 I've already paid you last year. And now you've sent me a bill for £1,500 on top of that. Where do you think I'm going to get the money for this? Seriously, where is it coming from? My wages haven't increased. Where do you think this money is coming from? I'm going to have to sell shit, personal stuff that I don't want to sell, but I'm going to have to sell it. I'm going to have to sell things like my rare vinyl records. I'm going to have to sell signed autographs. I'm going to have to sell film props and some board games and books that I've had for decades, because you guys want to go and fly first class and stay in a nice hotel or whatever you do. This is not the way humanity is supposed to work. This is not the way we evolve as a species. Now, this is a message to British Gas. I am begging you on my knees, review your policies, review your price increase against the needs of your shareholders, to the circumstances of your customers, because we are desperate. I'm telling you, we're desperate. We are desperate. We are hanging on a daily basis by our fingernails. And I'm going to have to go down to the food bank again next week. And do you know what that's going to do to my pride? What little of it that I've got left with 2 big shopping bags. And because I can't afford a taxi, I have to carry it all the way out to the bus stop and then come back on the bus with it all. So I've got to do it in public as well. Thanks for that. You did that to me. Do you know, before you put your price hikes up, my one passion is going to see films at the cinema. I'm going to open the second bill now. I'm wondering if it's even bigger. My passion is going to see films at the cinema. I've gone to see films all my life. And, you know, cinema profits are dying. But, you know, to get people into the cinema, do you know what they did? They put the prices down. That's why I can afford to go. Because the prices aren't 15, 18 pounds anymore. It's getting stupid. They are now $4.99, $5.99. So I can afford to go. Do you know how many films I've been to see since you put your prices up, British Gas, on the big screen? You know how many films I've been to see since you put your price hike up? And I've gone from paying £800 a year to nearly £1,500 a year, or even over 2,000 now at this. Do you know how many films I've been to see in the last 2 years on the big screen? 3. And you are talking to the most avid cinemaphile on the planet. I mean, I've been to some guest screenings of friends of mine's films and things like that. But me just going to the cinema on my own, 3 films. 1 so far this year. You know why I can't go? Because you made it impossible. You made it impossible. I can't spend money on stuff like that. I have to keep the lights on. I have to keep this computer on. Because writing is all I've got. Do you understand what that does to us? What you're doing with your price increases is you're stripping away other things in life that we like to do that most people take for granted. I can't afford to go on a holiday. I don't know when I'll go on a holiday again. Do you know the last time I went abroad? The last time I went abroad was to see a friend of mine who was dying of cancer. And because of that, I overspent. But I wanted to see him because I knew he didn't have long. And so when I came back, I was short on the rent. And I contacted my landlord. I said, I'm very sorry, but this is the reason why. And do you know what? They were understanding. Because I've been a model tenant. I've always paid my rent on time. They listened to the situation. They understood. And they were okay about it. And we resolved it. And it was all good. But, you know, that's a human response. Do you remember that the last time you were human? I mean, I'm talking to an entity here, but, you know, like the post office, right? You are run by people. Your shareholders are real people. Your chairman is a real person. The person who designs your customer service system are real people. The people that design your software, that do your bills, which I'm sure have gone wrong on more than one occasion. I'm sure they've overcharged people on more than one occasion. They are designed by people, human beings like you and me. So you should look at yourself in the mirror sometime and ask yourself if it's okay to treat people this way. Ask yourself if it's okay to strip people of their dignity bit by bit until they've got nothing left. Because that's what I feel like right now. You did that to me with your bills, your price increases, all of that stuff. Make me go to a fucking food bank to eat, to get my food for Christmas because I couldn't afford to do a big shop. Yeah. You know, and what's going to happen, right? I'll tell you this now. What's going to happen is some exec from British Gas somewhere, sometime, is going to hear about this video. And for a laugh, when they're all sipping on champagne, they're going to put it on and they're going to listen to my little rant and they're going to laugh about it. They're going to look at each other and they're going to laugh about it. They're going to have a good old laugh. And then they're going to do whatever they do on their holiday, go skiing, order some foie gras, all that shit. go and live on one of those houses on stilts out in the ocean, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. And they're just going to laugh about it. It's going to mean nothing to them. They're going to laugh it off. You know why? Because they don't care. They don't care about us. They don't care about their customers. They don't care about us as a nation. They don't care about their reputation of their company. They don't care about giving good customer service, and they certainly don't care about giving good value for money. You are scum, honestly, for treating us like this. Customers that have been with you for decades. I've been with you decades. 27 years I've been a customer with British Gas. And this is how you treat me. 75 quid. When I took you to the ombudsman and said this was unfair, how could you charge me extra for bills I'd already paid? How is that right? Oh, well, we're sorry we got it wrong. £75. £75 or 1,500 is bugger all. Bugger all. So I don't know how I'm going to pay this. I am going to have to sell some stuff because it's the only way I'm going to be able to pay it. And yeah, I'm going to have to. I'll probably do a stream about that. As you can tell, I'm pretty upset about this. I know it's not a lot of money to some people, but it's a lot of money to me. I don't have a lot of money. And the last few years, I've just been getting by, dealing with a lot of other stuff on top of just the regular things. Life is difficult for a lot of people at the minute. I was at a party on Sunday when I booked about 3 months ago because I wouldn't have a ticket for it now because I couldn't afford it. And funny enough, the subject of this came up. I didn't bring it up. Somebody else talked about it. And the comment made was this: there's so much going on in the world right now that makes everything so difficult. Everything on the news is terrible. Look at what happened in Hainault the other day, that poor kid. It's all the stuff on the outside of our bubble, our daily lives. It's usually a mixture of things, good and bad. There's good news in the world, there's bad news in the world. But in the last few years, it's been very oppressive. It's been COVID, pandemic, lockdowns, wars, war in the Ukraine, war in the Middle East. Now, of course, we have Gaza and Israel going at it. We have China doing stuff in space, expanding in the sea, attacking our computers. Russia's doing the same, trying to fix elections, all of this. I know that all of this might seem irrelevant, but it's really not. Because when everything on the outside bubble is bad, which it is, dealing with the stuff on the inside bubble, your day-to-day, paying your TV, updating your computer because your last one's about to die because you haven't been able to buy a new one for ages, buying new shoes, buying new underwear, sending your kids to school, doctor's appointments, paying the dentist, council tax, phone bill, mobile, internet, your Netflix account, all of that shit. It all becomes harder because if the prices go up, you can't afford all of those things. And the average person on a low income wage is just in a constant state of struggle. Life is normally about ebbs and flows. There's good times and there's bad times. But what people said in this conversation was, God, the last few years, it's just been a constant struggle, isn't it? That was what someone said. And they were talking about the collective everything, and they mean you in that as well, because you put the prices up, and that makes us struggle. You know, like a fly in a spider's web. The more we're kind of borrowing money from one place to pay something else off, we just get stuck even more. I was always good for never being in debt. I never paid for much on my credit card, or if I did, as soon as I got back, off a holiday or whatever, I would cover it. I would pay it back. I think I owe about $3,000, just under $3,000 on my credit card right now, and that's because of purchases I had to make during the pandemic when there were no money coming in, like food things and whatnot. And being freelance and having the worst year of work ever in 2019, I didn't get any money from the government or anything. I got a little bit to help towards rent and whatnot, a tiny fraction. But, there was no big paycheck for me. So it's just constant. This struggle is just constant. And you are not helping us. And I know there's a lot of people in this situation, a lot of people in the UK in this situation. If you understand what I'm talking about, if you sympathize or you've got a view on it, please put it in the chat now. But you've pushed us so far that what's going to happen is that one is you're going to lose your customer base. No one's going to give you any loyalty anymore. As soon as I can pay off these bills, I'm gone. I don't care if the other energy supplier is only £1 cheaper than you, or if their prices are exactly the same as you. I'm going to be leaving you because of the way you've treated me. So, I wasn't happy with the way my situation was resolved, even though I took it to the ombudsman. I basically got told that I had no choice. I had to accept what they'd given me, and that was it. There was nothing else I could do. So I wasn't happy about it. I wasn't happy about the way I was dealt with or treated as a customer, and I don't understand why, if it's your mistake that you accidentally undercharge me in 2023, what I now have to pay for your mistake. If you come and make a mistake in my rehearsal space, I don't expect you to pay for it. Honestly, man. And this just represents, it goes beyond British Gas. It represents so much about what's wrong in society today, the way we function. This is just awful. I know there's other people out there that have gone through the same. I know that there's other people out there who are struggling, and I know my struggles are quite trivial compared to, let's say, a family in Gaza who's just lost their home, or to do both sides of the coin of that, or an Israeli family whose son or daughter was kidnapped. By comparison, these are trivial things. But I'm just trying to survive in my own world right now, and all I can do is look out my own window. And the view out of my own window right now is pretty bleak. I've got to be honest. And this affects everything. It affects everything. It affects what else you can do in your daily life, the little pleasures. You can't go to the cinema. You can't go out for the occasional meal. You change what you buy in the food shop, so you're not eating as healthily. You buy less expensive things. You're not buying new clothes very often. So you feel that you're not as well dressed as you should be when you went out. I bought a new pair of shoes the other day. It was the first new pair of shoes I'd bought in absolutely forever. I used to buy sort of 2 new suits a year. That dropped to 1 pretty quickly in the last few years. Like new clothes is a luxury. Buying new underwear is a luxury. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got fresh underwear, just to be clear. But it's just these things are difficult. So I know there are other people out there who are just low income wage citizens of the UK. Yeah, that's where I get them from, mate. Primark. And the socks get holes in about 3 weeks. But there are other citizens out there like myself, low wage earners. They might be on disability benefits, people that are on the edge, people that are finding it hard to make ends meet, people that might have medical history so they can't work, or as I said, low income, the people that make the coffees, the people that clean the hallways, the people that take your rubbish, the people that sweep the streets, the people that work on London Underground, the people that make the wheels of this country go round. And I think what really annoys me, and I don't want to keep repeating myself, but what really annoys me is it's the blood of those people that you're squeezing. And it's those people that you're crucifying them. You're crucifying us. Because you're affecting everything in our life with a price hike like this ridiculous. You're affecting everything. We don't go out as much. We don't dress as well. So mentally, we don't feel as good. And there ain't a lot to feel good about in the world these days. There ain't a lot. And you're making it even worse. You're making it even harder. Just what? So you can have an extra pina colada because you did well on your shares. This is not right, man. If you made a profit of 151 million, right? Why don't you reduce that property to 500 million, that profit, which is still a good profit, and put the rest into reducing the costs of the bills. Reduce the bills, man. Don't tell us it's because of Ukraine. Do you know that there's only one reason that these bills are this price? You want to know what that reason is? It's very, very simple. It's one word, and it's called greed. Greed. And don't tell me to watch that film with Michael Douglas. I was working in the cinema when it was on. So greed ain't good. It really isn't. And you are killing me with this bill for 1,500 quid. 1,500 quid. And this isn't even the whole year yet. We're only in May. And I owe you £1,500. Yeah. You don't care. You don't care about your customers. You don't care about us. You don't care. The only way this is going to change is if there's a British uproar about this. This used to be a public-owned utility. And yeah, they came and did 2 reading checks, James, last year, because I asked for them. I asked for them to send the people. They didn't insist on them coming round. I got them to come round. And after one of those, they reduced my bill. Yet later on, they're telling me they made a mistake and they undercharged me for the whole year. How is that fair? How is that fair? Anyway, what I need the British people to do is to try and... I guess I'm asking for a rally cry now. If you're a British gas customer or were a British gas customer and you feel you've been ripped off, you feel you're being mistreated, you feel you're being overcharged for the service that you're getting unnecessarily, or you feel you've been stripped of your dignity like me because you had to go to a food bank to get food, then repost this video, tag British Gas in it, tag BBC, Channel 4 News, LBC, any media you can think of, because this isn't right. And I'm not convinced that their computer system is working properly. I'm not convinced. For all we know, this could be another Horizon scandal in the making. Regardless of whether that's true or not, The simple fact of the matter is that British Gas, you are not treating your customers right. You get no benefit from being a long-term customer with you whatsoever. You can't take a reading and do an accurate bill any more than you can do a piss up in a brewery. It's absolutely, you know, I've done all this, James, mate. I've done it all already. I've done all of that. This is why I went to the ombudsman. And then I had to abide by the ombudsman's decision. But, you know, I can't afford to pay the bill, but the bill's here. They took £75 off for giving me the wrong readings. And they were forced to offer me an apology, which, by the way, came in an embedded email. I had no apology in form of a letter. So the whole thing is total horseshit. So if you are a customer of British Gas, or even a British citizen that is concerned about the way we're constantly being ripped off, this is the working class men and women of this country are having to pay these increases. They are the people who are suffering, and we need it to stop. And the government isn't going to do anything. So I would beg you, please share this stream, share this video, tag media in it, and question and get other people to question, why are you stripping us of the last pennies we have in our purse and paying yourselves £751 million profit in the current climate? So, because it's not right what you're doing. It's criminal what you're doing. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about it. Sorry, this has been a bit of a rant. My channel's not normally for that. It's about talking about positive things and reviewing films and interviewing people from the creative industries. The reason I started this channel, actually, just to flip this a little bit before I go, was for my mental health. Because my long-term relationship had fallen apart for reasons that I won't go into now. It was very difficult, but that's all said and done now. And you know, life it was huge changes in career, personal life, a lot of things, and there was very little left that made me happy. You know, the one thing that was my escape was I would always go to the cinema. You know, I'd always go and see films. I can't even do that now because I can't afford to go because of you, British Gas. Thank you for that. But my friend, who's also got a YouTube channel, and also my best friend, Jason Fleming, was saying, "Oh, you know, you should do that. You go on YouTube, talk about films. You could interview people. I'll be your first guest. All this. You're really good at interviewing people, and you're really passionate about creative things and supporting people and supporting other people in their creative endeavors." And I thought, yeah, that's what I want to do. I'll support people on their independent creative journeys wherever I can, and then also get big guests in, which increases the size of the channel, etc., etc. Was never about making money. My channel is monetized now, but you know, I'm not a big channel or anything. So it has helped pay the internet bill though, so that now pays for itself, which is good. But it was really about my mental health, because I was in a bad place a couple of years ago, and you know, and stuff like these bills with British Gas don't help. You're already dealing with a lot of other things. You don't need that on top of everything else. So YouTube's been a bit of a godsend for me. I've got a little community now of other YouTubers I collaborate with, to mention a few. Stupenzolicious Enzo, who's my regular co-host normally tonight. I don't know if I'm going to do my Nielsen ratings tonight. It's supposed to be in 45 minutes, but I might not do it this week. And then, of course, Blue Collar Loser Chris, Northern Bastard, Luke, The Inside Man, Gary, Metropolis Now, and then, of course, the guy who's given me more support than anybody, the Critical Drinker, Will Jordan, very, very supportive. And then there's also a host of other people, Cannoli Sasquatch, Sassy Sasquatch, do their streams on Monday night. The Gourd King, definitely not Michael Cera, of course, as we know. Definitely not, probably. These are all, these are all people that I probably wouldn't meet normally in life, but have supported me. That they have. Some of us might have different political opinions. Some of us might have different views on things in life. But the one thing that combines us, the one thing that connects us, is our love of film, cinema, and television culture. The films we love, the TV shows we love. These are the things we get together and we talk about. That's the stuff that connects us. And they've been incredibly supportive of me. And without the likes of them, I'll mention some more: Rennie, Vex Electronica, Whitey Bear. Man, there's so many of YouTubers that I collaborate with now. Kung Fu Hot Dog. So my man Dan in Atlanta. Well, there's loads. It's it's been really helpful for me. So I want to say thank you to all those people, because times have been hard at the best of times. It's been difficult sometimes, and you grasp onto things that make you happy, that get you through the day. And this channel's been really good at helping me get through the day. I forgot to mention Retro Nerd Girl, of course, and Lorena Creole. Yeah, all these people have been great. Now, the Band of Brothers stream, just so you know, James, this weekend it is happening, but it's moving. So it's coming up on Saturday. It's moved from Sunday, just because I couldn't do it until late on Sunday, and I didn't want to have to move it again. So we are doing it this week, but it is on Saturday. Thank you for the comments in the chat. I appreciate it. I really do. It's nice that people have come in. And I appreciate the advice. I have tried all these things already. So I don't know really what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to pay for this thing. But I really do. Yeah, you're right, Adam Gray. They're trying to kill us out here. No doubt about it. They don't care. Don't ever make the mistake of these people caring, because they don't care. Yeah. So, all right. So look, thanks for tuning into this thing, this episode of Here's My Gas Bill. So yeah, well, it's going to cost a lot of money, and I have to figure out how I'm going to pay it. So I might be doing some kind of auction stream. I do have a PayPal. Yes, I have a PayPal. It's under my email address, which I'll put in the chat. It's easy to find my email address online, so it's not hard. But look, if you're in a similar situation to me yourself, and you're finding it hard to make ends meet and stuff, don't be sending me your money now, because you need it yourself. You need it for your family. You need it for your own activities, your own mental health, your own needs. Look, if you win the lottery tomorrow and you want to help me pay my gas bill, I'm not going to say no. But don't be sending me your hard-earned pennies if you're struggling as well. Okay, much as I appreciate the gesture. So I'm going to do some kind of auction stream. I'm even thinking of selling my vinyl soundtrack of A Bridge Too Far. Can you believe that? I can't believe I'm considering that, man. I can't believe that. Well, so yeah, so I'm going to probably do some sort of auction. Maybe there'll be some board games and maybe some film knickknacks. I'm not going to sell any of my Thunderbird stuff, so don't ask. But there might, I don't know. I'll probably do that before the end of the month. Patreon or GoFundMe. I've got a Patreon thing, but I just don't have the time to run it properly. It's just a bit too demanding on my time. GoFundMe I could do, but they take a big chunk out of it. So I have thought about doing that, but it's just embarrassing. You know, I shouldn't have to do that, should I? It's embarrassing. You know, it's like going with a begging bowl and saying, yeah, guys, I can't afford to put the lights on. You know, my computer is on its last legs as well. When my computer dies, that's another, like, you know, that's another K at least. Where am I going to get that from? You know, and I'm working my ass off to try and get this job or that job or this big project, the green light. I'm not sitting on my ass. Tell you that now. But it's tough. All right, I think I've rambled a bit. I kind of wanted to keep this quite short and concise. But the key message here is really, let me end on this. So, British Gas, for a company that I've been with for 27 years. I've been with you, and my parents were with you. My parents were British Gas. So it's a generational thing. We've been your customer. And despite some good people working in your customer service department and quite a diligent PA for the company director, who I will compliment on their efficiency, these price increases are unjust. They are unreasonable. They are morally bankrupt. You are a morally bankrupt company if you think it's okay to announce profits of 751 million while you stop people from putting the lights on, stop people from putting the heating on, people that have already got health issues, people that can't work, people that have low income jobs. If you think it's okay to do that, then there is something wrong with you. And you're going to lose a lot of customers. And you know what? Money talks. So if you don't want to be a redundant company, you better think of a way to address that. Because as soon as I can, I'm leaving. And a lot of other people are going to do the same. You've already lost a huge, huge percentage of your customer base. And price hikes is not the way to go. So convince me why I should stay after you've treated me like this and given me this huge bill to pay, £1,500. You know, I hope you're proud of yourselves. Anyway, those of you in chat, thanks for popping in. I know it's a bit of a naff topic. It's not our usual wheelhouse territory. Appreciate you coming in and voicing your support. And I hope you all have a good week. And like I always say, don't forget to call the people that you care about and tell them that you love them, because never before has that been more important than it is right now.